You want us to read that?
No way.
But the sentence is the left to the right, like just like we read, or like from top to bottom. Something like my mom takes the horse, something. Ma 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 ma.
Incredibly difficult. Hello.
I can speak 5 languages, but one of them is very broken.
I speak 6 languages.
Yes, depending on which country you are from, of course you're gonna have like some languages will be easier than others. For example, for me as a Brazilian speaker, Spanish is gonna sound way easier, and any Latin-based language is gonna sound a lot better, like to understand. And while like Asian languages in general, they're very hard to understand. At the same time, I would say that the difference between Asian languages like vary. So there are things, some languages, the speaking is the hardest part. Some languages, the writing is the hardest part. So it's kind of hard to measure. And to say like a general hardest language, it depends on the person.
Yeah, I agree with you. For example, for me, I speak Dutch and French. So for me, it's easier to learn like, you know, Germanic languages and like Roman languages. Yeah, Latin-based languages. But then, for example, as you mentioned, like Asian languages, like it's incredibly difficult. Especially you have to change the way you think. And that is the hardest part, I feel. Like my language put like first the subject, then the verb, and then the object. They do it like completely differently.
The opposite way. For example, the verb in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, wait.
Exactly.
I have to think before I speak. You want us to read that?
No way.
Absolutely not. I don't even know what sound to make. I heard a little bit of Mandarin before, like when watching Chinese dramas. There's like these little things that we know, for example, ni hao.
And wine.
对，我爱你 or 谢谢
Yeah.
对不起 That's all I know, and we're done. I can see where people say that Mandarin is so difficult, because depending on the intonation you use, it's gonna mean completely different things. So, I see it. Plus the alphabet, like more than 500,000, like 5,000 characters.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Do you have any experience with Chinese Mandarin? Sorry.
I have heard a lot of like Mandarin like around me, and I think we as English speakers, we are very like intimidated by the characters. But I've heard among the East Asian languages, it's actually the easiest to learn because of the grammar. Of course, the characters, they are very difficult to learn, but less hard than we
I heard
think.
it too. Like,
It's very straightforward.
Yeah,
it's very straightforward.
I go cook. That's it. So like I think because of the intonation, it's gonna be very difficult for English speakers, because I mean if you say one different intonation, it can mean something completely different. I heard one day one sentence that my friend was like trying to explain about it, like the intonation thing, which was something like my mom takes the horse something, and it was like ma 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 ma, and I was like, what?
Right, I heard about that one.
Like, what do you mean? Like, is this a sentence? For sure, that's one of the hardest parts of learning Mandarin for English speakers.
Especially also with the different like variations in Mandarin. Like you can learn the base, like the standard one,
or
but that
the
doesn't
traditional
mean,
Chinese.
But that doesn't mean you will understand someone speaking, you know, from the northern regions. Or I think that is the most challenging as well.
It's scary.
Arabic. First of all, because they read from right to left. And
they do?
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's from right to left. I think the same with like Mandarin, because it's a different alphabet, I would say. It looks quite intimidating. And I also heard, like, even if you learn the standard Arabic, that doesn't mean you will understand, like everyone will understand you when you
But
speak
you're not properly going to understand other places.
Exactly. It depends on the region where you go.
Countries,
or the country
like
where
countries
you go.
vary a lot, even though they all speak Arabic. Like I heard that, I saw one of the videos from Word of Friends. They speak Arabic in their countries, but like it sounds completely different. And even them among themselves cannot understand each other. So I'm like, how do you want me to understand you? So that's very much intimidating. But I feel interested about learning it, because I do think it's like a very pretty language. Like it looks beautiful, like the handwriting. One of the things is like, it's one of the oldest languages in the world. So like that's quite impressive.
It's really impressive, yeah.
And as a person fascinated by history, I'm like, yeah, I would like to learn more about it just to be able to understand history more. Gotta? Ha! Okay. あなたはこれを I don't know this kanji. I know it's read, but I forgot how to say. So yes, it's asking us if we can read that in Japanese. Yes, I can read that. Very badly, but I can read that.
The reason why Japanese is one of the most difficult languages to learn for English speakers is the different alphabet, but not only one alphabet. There's like three different
alphabets.
And I think like hiragana, katakana is quite doable, but then you have the kanji. And the fact that kanji is like
Chinese character.
Exactly, it's like used like in the middle of the sentences and like very difficult.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the languages where like once people find out they have to learn 3 alphabets, that's when they get scared.
Yeah.
But like there are some tricks into it. Like I have a hard time like remembering the kanjis as well, but I know how to read a word or another because I know that once they come together, they sound in a way or they mean something else. That's another thing. Like kanji, sometimes they have 1, 2, 3 meanings. And sometimes, even though it's just one meaning, they have different pronunciations.
Really?
Yeah, according to like what they're popped up with.
That's really difficult.
That happens a lot. The thing is, in Japan at least, you can leave if you only have the hiragana or the katakana, because you can write in hiragana and be like, this is it. And a lot of places, the kanjis, they have the furigana. The furigana on top of it is like a little hiragana written so that you can read that kanji.
Oh, they have that?
They do.
Oh,
like for example, if it was written like this and then on top of that kanji there were like smaller hiraganas, that's called furigana.
And they read like from right to left in their books. I saw a lot of people reading the book from
like
there.
The order, but the sentence is the left to the right, like just like we read, or like from top to bottom.
Yeah, it was usually like from top to bottom.
Either like this or like this, but the book is like this.
Ah, that's so cool.
I understand why it's scary. Oh, there we go, my language. Hungarian. El tuto tesorvani. Can we read this? I can get it a little bit, but I cannot pronounce it. I'm so sorry, Hungarian people. But my family puts faith on me to learn this language because of our descendancy. They're like Jew.
I've heard Hungarian before, but I have no idea what's going on. Like, I have no idea. But I heard, this is one of the most difficult languages to learn for English speakers, and I think for anyone speaking another language than Hungarian, I would say.
True, I heard it a lot too, and I think so too. I have a Hungarian descendancy, and like one of the things they ask for is like for us to know the Hungarian language to be able to get like the double citizenship. My family is like, Julia, when are you gonna learn it? I'm like, I'm not, am I? So it's also quite scary to learn that one. It is intimidating, but at least I would say like one thing that makes it a little bit easier than the other ones is because the alphabet is pretty much the same that we use, so it doesn't feel so scary. Japanese, Chinese, Arabic, they feel a little bit worse because we have to learn a new alphabet.
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense, yeah. I agree. Even though I know nothing about Hungarian.
Of course, I would say in Hungarian, the pronunciation is the worst part.
Really?
Yeah. At least for me, because I cannot read that like out loud. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna be like, she read it wrong! But like I understand 1 or 2 words. Korean. 문장을 읽을 수 있나요? 네. It's definitely hard for English speakers to learn Korean.
I agree.
I would say, even comparing to Japanese, Korean is speaking. The worst part of Korean is speaking because depending on what is written, the pronunciation on the next syllable is going to sound different, and like there's a lot of levels of politeness that you're using. So either you're being too polite or you're being like just standard polite or like rude, and like you have to be very careful because like they don't really tell you when to change. Like some people, they don't tell you like, oh, you should be talking already like fine with me, why you're being so formal. So you're like, how do I know that I can use already like unpolite language? They're like, you know the feeling, and I'm like, no, there is no feeling.
Personally, Korean is difficult because of the grammar and because of all the words. Like when you translate one word, it can have the same translation, but in Korean you can have 6 different words. Written language, more formal, less formal.
I mean,
yeah.
6 ways of saying end.
What we put in front, Korean puts at the back. So you have to reverse your thinking.
Yeah.
Like that is so difficult. It took me so long.
Sometimes they give me like texts to read and translate to Portuguese, and I'm like, hold on, I have to first read everything and then I'll be able to translate to you, because I don't know what they're like. I'm not gonna be able to translate directly.
So respect to translators.
Respect the translators. I heard Finnish before, but I've never learned. I have no knowledge whatsoever on Finnish.
I have a couple of friends who are from Finland, so I've heard Finnish before. I think it's a beautiful language, but I have no idea what's going on. I know their grammar is really, really complicated. I can understand why this is one of the most difficult languages to learn for English speakers, yeah. I actually don't know that much about the pronunciation. When I hear it, I can tell that it's Finnish, but I have no idea if that is the most difficult part to learn. Like, what I know is the grammar is quite complicated.
What I know is that Finnish is quite clean. Like when they speak, it sounds like it's another voice. Like it sounds so much like from their throat, which is hard for me because like in Brazil we speak such a like nasal language. So it's so hard to like come clean like just from the throat, which is something that like, I don't know if I'll be able to learn that.
Pronunciations from like Denmark and Norway and Sweden, they are quite like different, but they kind of understand each other. Finnish is, as far as I know, is not considered a Nordic language because it's derived from the same language, but Finnish just is completely unrelated to it. And that is, I think, why it's difficult. Yeah, it doesn't have like any roots, as far as I know, in like any of the languages from like in the Nordic languages or Germanic or Romance languages. Yeah. For me, the most difficult language to learn was by far Korean.
Really?
I am still struggling today, yes, especially grammar, correct words, knowing when to switch from formal to informal. So it's not only the language, but also the culture, I guess, yeah. So hardest, number 1, Korean. Number 2, I would say French. Number 3, Portuguese. Portuguese and Spanish are quite like similar for me. And then I would say English and Dutch.
For me, I'll do the opposite way, like from the easiest one to the hardest one. Well, the easiest one, Portuguese, because it's my native language. After that, for sure, Spanish, because again, it's pretty similar. So a lot of things I can just get from it. After that would come English. So like, after you start learning a language, you get the drill of like learning like the grammar. So like you know how to study. You learn how to study. That's the thing.
Definitely.
So English became a lot easier for me. And lastly, because I cannot put them in like one place, it's Japanese and Korean. So like grammar is not easy either. Like it's pretty similar to Korean, I would say even. In Korean, it's the speaking part. It's so hard in the level of formality. So like I feel that Japanese and Korean, they would be in the same level. Difficult.
In a different way.
In a different way, yeah. Both of them are difficult in their own ways. So Korean is really difficult because of the grammar. So the same thing in like knowing the level of politeness. Because like for both Japanese and Korean, like the grammar is completely different from what we speak in like the Western languages, like there. So Romance languages, even like Anglo-Saxon languages, they are completely different from this like structure-wise. And Korean would be the pronunciation. I felt that like I had to learn a lot of sounds, like strengthen some letters and like make them also like lighten them. For example, the ka, 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 ka. So this is something that I had a hard time learning.
Right, yeah.
I remember I would say like 동생, and then my ex, he would be like, it's not 동생, it's 동생. I'm like, you said the same thing, it's the same thing. I don't get it, what did I say wrong?
It's challenging. Tough. It is challenging.
And in Japanese, kanji, memorizing all of them is just hard, and like knowing when you have to say one sound, because it's not just memorizing like what the meaning of the kanji is, it's like memorizing when they come with another kanji what sound they're gonna make, or when they come with a hiragana what sound they're gonna make. That's the hardest part for me, and I know, like, especially because I learned alone, it was tough. It was not easy.
Wow. So today, two polyglots talked about the hardest language to learn for English speakers.
If you liked the video, leave your like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Bye!